Imagine inventing a medical breakthrough that transforms the lives of thousands, offering a new dawn of hope where only despair existed. Now, consider that monumental achievement being disregarded, your name systematically removed, and your legacy wrongfully claimed by another. How can such profound genius be overlooked, deliberately concealed, and ultimately attributed elsewhere? This deep paradox lies at the very heart of a narrative that speaks not only to a singular injustice, but to the widespread systemic barriers that have historically stifled innovation and denied recognition to marginalized communities. This isn't merely a forgotten piece of history. It's a powerful reflection of how bias can obscure brilliance and reshape collective memory. You are about to hear a story so profound, so infuriating, and ultimately, so inspiring, it will reshape how you think about history itself. It begins with a brilliant mind, a young woman whose work held the key to alleviating immense human suffering. Before we explore this incredible journey of a genius denied, take a moment to hit that like button if you believe in justice for unsung heroes. The early decades of the 20th century were a time of striking contradictions. On one hand, scientific discovery was accelerating at an unprecedented pace, promising advancements that would redefine human experience. On the other, American society was deeply fractured by entrenched racial segregation and pervasive gender discrimination. This era formed the backdrop against which brilliant minds, particularly those belonging to Black women, faced an immense struggle simply to exist within, let alone contribute to, the intellectual landscape. For Black individuals, and especially for Black women, the pursuit of higher education and scientific careers was a relentless, arduous journey. Systemic obstacles were meticulously designed to limit their potential and deny them their rightful place in fields like chemistry, medicine, and engineering. Access to quality education was severely restricted, and even when attained, doors to professional opportunities remained largely closed. The very institutions meant to foster innovation often perpetuated exclusion. Consider the patent system, ostensibly designed to be a meritocracy. Despite its colorblind language, it historically served as another barrier. For decades, Black inventors were starkly underrepresented. Some estimates from the early 20th century indicate their representation was as low as 6 per million people, a tiny fraction compared to their proportion in the overall population. This exclusion wasn't accidental. It was a consequence of deeply rooted prejudices, often reinforced by discriminatory practices and Jim Crow laws that effectively barred Black professionals from white-dominated research labs and corporate settings. Ingrained stereotypes played a powerful role. The prevailing, unfounded perception of the time held that women and African Americans were mentally inferior and technically incompetent. Such harmful beliefs were not just societal biases. They actively shaped policies and practices, making it nearly impossible for talented individuals to secure positions in white, male corporate research and development environments. Their brilliance was consistently doubted, their capabilities questioned, and their contributions dismissed before they even had a chance to demonstrate them. The weight of this discrimination was so heavy that some Black innovators, in a heartbreaking act of self-preservation, felt compelled to hide their racial identity to gain acceptance or see their work recognized. This self-erasure was a tragic consequence of a system unwilling to acknowledge genius that didn't fit its predetermined mold. The impact of this systematic racism and sexism extended far beyond individual lives. It profoundly hindered the nation's collective innovative capacity. Imagine the countless potential cures, technological advancements, and scientific breakthroughs that were lost or delayed because a significant portion of the population was deliberately excluded from contributing. Society as a whole missed out on the immense productive power of these stifled minds. Many of us might think these battles are long over, but the echoes of this era still resonate. This story isn't just history, it's a mirror reflecting persistent challenges that continue to shape our world today. Amidst the challenging societal backdrop of the early 20th century, a truly extraordinary intellect emerged, Aella Vance. Born in 1892 in Seattle, Washington, her journey would soon redefine what was considered possible for a young Black woman in the realm of science. Her path was illuminated not just by her innate brilliance, but by a profoundly nurturing environment that cultivated her insatiable curiosity. Aella was fortunate to grow up in a family that championed education and scientific exploration. Her grandfather, a prominent photographer and one of Seattle's earliest Black residents, played a pivotal role in shaping her worldview. He instilled in her a deep love for learning and a fearless approach to inquiry, often exposing her to scientific concepts and encouraging her independent thought. This familial support served as a crucial foundation, allowing her remarkable abilities to blossom despite the external pressures of a prejudiced society. Her academic trajectory was nothing short of phenomenal. Aella graduated from Seattle High School in 1910, a testament to her early dedication. She then pursued higher education at the University of Washington, where she achieved an astounding feat, earning dual bachelor's degrees, one in pharmaceutical chemistry and another in pharmacy. This rigorous academic path showcased her formidable intellect and her passion for understanding the intricate workings of the chemical world. Even before commencing her graduate studies, her exceptional capabilities were recognized when she co-published research in the prestigious Journal of the American Chemical Society, a rare accomplishment for someone so early in their career. Her pursuit of knowledge then led her to the College of Hawaii, where in 1915, at just 23 years old, she made history. Aella Vance became the first woman and the first African American to earn a master's degree in chemistry from the institution. This achievement alone would be remarkable, but she didn't stop there. Immediately following her graduation, she was appointed as the university's first female chemistry instructor, a groundbreaking position for any woman at the time, let alone a Black woman. Her rapid ascent through the academic ranks was a clear indication of her exceptional skill and dedication. Aella's triumphs were achieved in the face of what can only be described as double discrimination. She navigated a world where both her race and her gender presented significant obstacles at every turn. Yet, she transcended these barriers with unwavering resilience and profound intellectual fortitude. Her story demonstrates an incredible capacity to persevere and excel in environments that were actively designed to limit her. Can you imagine the sheer force of will it took for a young Black woman in the early 1900s to not just enter, but to excel in fields designed to exclude her? Her story defies every stereotype. Share your thoughts in the comments below about what her early achievements mean to you. The profound intellect of Aella Vance was about to confront one of the most agonizing medical challenges of her time, Hansen's disease, commonly known as leprosy. In the early 20th century, this affliction was a scourge, not only for its devastating physical toll, but for the unbearable social ostracization it inflicted. Sufferers faced severe disfigurement, the loss of limbs, and profound nerve damage. Beyond the physical pain, they endured complete social isolation, banished from their families and communities, often forced into exile in remote, desolate colonies. Imagine the despair of banishment, the agony of ineffective treatments, the burning hope when a young mind dared to see a solution no one else could. For centuries, the primary treatment for Hansen's disease had been chalmugra oil, extracted from the seeds of a specific tree. While it held some promise, its administration was fraught with severe problems. Taken orally, it caused intense nausea, vomiting, and debilitating gastrointestinal distress, making compliance almost impossible. Applied topically, it proved largely ineffective, barely penetrating the skin to reach the deep-seated infection. Worst of all, direct injection of the crude oil led to excruciatingly painful ulcerations and abscesses, often leaving patients in more agony than the disease itself. This was the grim reality for those afflicted, trapped in a cycle of suffering with no viable escape. This was not a problem of a few years or decades. It was a challenge that had perplexed the medical and scientific communities for hundreds of years. Countless researchers, chemists, and pharmacologists working around the world had tirelessly sought a more humane and effective treatment, only to be met with dead ends. The problem was considered intractable, a medical riddle beyond reach. This makes Aella Vance's arrival on the scene, with her unique perspective and fresh approach, all the more extraordinary. She was about to accomplish what generations of established experts had failed to do. Despite her youth and the immense pressure inherent in tackling such a pervasive and debilitating disease, Aella Vance approached the problem with tireless dedication. She focused her research on the active chemical compounds within chalmugra, oil, chalmugric and hydrocarpic acids. Her brilliance lay not in simply identifying these, but in understanding why the raw oil failed. She realized the issue was its insolubility in water, which made it difficult for the body to absorb and administer effectively without severe side effects. Her breakthrough was elegant and revolutionary. Through meticulous experimentation, Aella successfully modified these complex fatty acids into water-soluble, injectable ethyl esters. This chemical transformation was a game-changer. It meant the treatment could now be safely injected directly into the bloodstream, bypassing the digestive system and delivering the therapeutic compounds effectively to the affected areas without the agonizing side effects of oral or topical applications and without the painful ulcerations of crude oil injections. This ingenious solution quickly became known as the Ball method. The transformative impact of the Ball method was immediate and profound. It offered dramatically less painful and significantly more effective treatment. Suddenly, thousands of individuals who had been condemned to isolated colonies found themselves responding to treatment. They began to heal, their deformities lessening, their pain diminishing. Critically, many were able to return to their families, reintegrate into their communities, and reclaim their dignity and hope. It was a medical miracle, a triumph of human ingenuity over a devastating illness. Yet, in a cruel twist of fate, despite the immense human impact of her discovery, a shadow would soon fall upon Aella's legacy. For decades to come, this life-saving treatment would often be referred to as the Dean method, her own name conspicuously absent from the narrative of her groundbreaking work. The injustice, though still hidden, was already taking shape. As her revolutionary Ball method was beginning to transform the lives of thousands, a profound tragedy struck. Aella Vance's incandescent life was cut short at the incredibly young age of 24. On December 31st, 1916, she passed away, leaving behind a legacy unfinished in terms of formal publication. The precise cause of her untimely death remains shrouded in a degree of ambiguity. While officially attributed to tuberculosis, some speculate it could have been linked to exposure to chlorine gas in the laboratory, or perhaps the immense pressure under which she worked. Regardless of the specific medical cause, her passing before her research was formally published created a devastating void, one that a ruthless hand was poised to exploit. This vacuum was swiftly filled by a shocking and deeply unjust act of betrayal. Director Sterling Thorne, who was then the president of the College of Hawaii, seized Aella's unfinished research. He was fully aware of her groundbreaking work, had overseen its progress, and understood its immense significance. Yet, in an act that can only be described as a profound breach of academic integrity and human decency, he took her meticulously developed findings and published them under his own name. Without a single mention of Aella Vance, no acknowledgement, no citation of her pioneering work, he brazenly renamed her life-saving innovation the Dean method. Thorne's motivation for this theft was rooted in profoundly racist attitudes. It was a calculated decision, stemming from the ingrained belief that a young black woman could not, or should not, receive credit for such a monumental scientific achievement. This was not merely an isolated incident of academic fraud. It was a direct manifestation of the deep-seated racial and gender bias that permeated the scientific community of that era. Black women, like Aella, faced double discrimination, prejudice, based on both their race and their gender, making them particularly vulnerable to such appropriation. Their contributions were often deemed invisible, or worse, deemed property to be claimed by others. The systematic nature of this theft was facilitated by the very structures of the time. The lack of comprehensive race and gender records within institutions and the U.S. Patent Office meant that tracking and proving such acts of intellectual appropriation became incredibly difficult. It allowed individuals like Thorne to commit these historical robberies with relative impunity, erasing the names of black innovators from the historical record, even as their inventions continued to benefit the wider world. This act of intellectual erasure connects directly to the title of our story. While Aella was not literally fired from a job in the traditional sense, Director Thorne's brazen act of taking her unfinished work and renaming it the Dean Method was a powerful, metaphorical firing of her intellectual competence and rightful ownership. It was a systemic declaration that her groundbreaking work, while undeniably valuable and life-saving, could not be associated with her name due to her race and her gender. It was an ultimate dismissal of her genius. How does it make you feel to know that brilliant minds like Aella's were systematically erased simply because of who they were? This injustice is a stark reminder of why diverse voices matter and why history must be told with accuracy and inclusion. What historical injustices have you learned about that shocked you? Though Director Thorne's act of appropriation sought to bury Aella Vance's name, the truth, as it often does, began to surface, albeit slowly. The first crucial step toward rectifying this historical wrong came from an unexpected source, Aella's collaborator, Dr. Alastair Reid. In 1922, just 6 years after her passing, Dr. Reid published a paper explicitly crediting her pioneering work. He wrote, and I quote, "The writer wishes to emphasize that the method of preparing the ethyl esters of the fatty acids of chalmugra oil was, in its essence, worked out by Miss Alice Ball, and credit should be given to her for this valuable contribution. This was a vital, early attempt to set the record straight, a quiet defiance against the narrative of erasure. However, Dr. Reid's acknowledgement was largely overlooked for decades, lost within academic journals as the Dean Method gained widespread acceptance. The true turning point, the moment that sparked the active campaign to reclaim Aella's legacy, came much later. In 1977, Dr. Catherine Takura, a professor at the University of Hawaii, serendipitously discovered Aella Vance's story while conducting research in the university archives. This discovery ignited a passionate, decades-long advocacy effort, a tireless campaign to bring Aella's name and contributions back into the light. The journey to correct this historical injustice was arduous, underscoring how deeply ingrained systemic biases can be. It took immense persistence to challenge a long-accepted narrative and compel institutions to acknowledge a truth they had, knowingly or unknowingly, suppressed. The sheer length of this battle speaks volumes about the resistance faced when attempting to dismantle established falsehoods, especially those that benefit from the erasure of marginalized figures. Fortunately, the 21st century has seen a significant wave of official acknowledgments and honors for Aella Vance. In 2000, the governor of Hawaii bravely declared February 29th as Alice Ball Day, ensuring her brilliance would be celebrated annually. That same year, a bronze plaque was unveiled in her honor at the University of Hawaii, a physical symbol of her rightful place in history. In 2007, she was posthumously awarded the Regents Medal of Distinction by the University of Hawaii. Looking forward, a life-sized bust of Aella Vance is scheduled to be unveiled at the University of Hawaii at Manoa in 2024, a powerful, permanent tribute. Beyond these, her work has received National Historic Chemical Landmark designation, and an endowed scholarship fund has been established in her name, specifically supporting underrepresented minority students pursuing degrees in STEM fields. This posthumous recognition isn't merely about correcting the past, it's actively shaping the future. By reclaiming Aella Vance's story, we counteract historical disparities in STEM education and inspire new generations. It ensures that future innovators from all backgrounds see themselves reflected in the narratives of scientific achievement, demonstrating that genius can emerge from anywhere, and that talent, regardless of background, must be valued and celebrated. Aella Vance's extraordinary story, while unique in its specifics, serves as a powerful microcosm of the systemic racism and sexism that have historically plagued innovation and intellectual property rights. Her experience, where brilliance was deliberately overshadowed by prejudice, is sadly not an isolated incident. It echoes the struggles of countless other Black inventors, artists, and creators whose invaluable contributions were systematically undervalued, dismissed, or outright stolen throughout history. Consider the remarkable case of Granville Woods, often called the Black Edison. He held over 50 patents in the late 19th and early 20th centuries for inventions that revolutionized railway systems, electrical technologies, and telecommunications. Yet, He constantly fought against companies attempting to steal his designs and claim them as their own. Or think of Benjamin Montgomery, a skilled engineer enslaved in the 19th century, who developed an innovative steamboat propeller. His master attempted to patent it, but the patent office denied it, stating that an enslaved person could not be an inventor, effectively denying him the rights to his own creation. Even in the realm of music, figures like Arthur Big Boy Crudup, whose songs were foundational to early rock and roll, died in poverty despite Elvis Presley achieving massive fame by covering his work. With Crudup seeing little to no royalties for decades, these are just a few examples that highlight the enduring resilience, profound ingenuity, and unwavering determination of Black individuals who, against all odds, continue to push the boundaries of knowledge, even when the system is stacked against them. Their drive to create, to solve problems, and to express themselves persisted despite deliberate efforts to diminish their impact. But the narrative doesn't end with Aella, Granville, Benjamin, or Arthur. History is filled with inspiring Black innovators who, through their sheer will and brilliance, reshaped our world. Frederick McKinley Jones invented crucial refrigeration units for trucks and trains, revolutionizing the transport of perishable goods and earning over 60 patents. Patricia Bath, an ophthalmologist, patented a device and method for cataract removal using lasers, restoring sight to thousands. Katherine Johnson and Gladys West, pioneering mathematicians, were instrumental in the space race and the development of GPS technology, respectively. Their stories, like Aella's, were often obscured but are now being rightly celebrated. The imperative for inclusive narratives is undeniable. Reclaiming stories like Aella Vance's not only corrects egregious historical wrongs, but also provides crucial role models and inspiration for new generations of diverse scientists and innovators. It actively counteracts the notion that scientific genius resides only in certain demographics. By illuminating these previously hidden figures, we show young people from all backgrounds, especially those from underrepresented communities, that their potential is limitless. It encourages them to pursue their passions, confident that their brilliance will be valued, their contributions celebrated, and their names remembered. The ultimate goal is to ensure that the misallocation of talent due to discrimination becomes a relic of the past, allowing all human ingenuity to flourish and benefit society. Aella Vance's story reminds us that true brilliance knows no bounds, only the ones society unfairly imposes. Whose stories of resilience and innovation inspire you the most? Share them in the comments. Aella Vance's short but incandescent life left an indelible mark on medical science. Her revolutionary invention, the balm method, fundamentally transformed the treatment of a devastating disease, saving countless lives and restoring hope where little existed. Yet, for decades, her name and her profound genius were nearly lost to history, swallowed by the very systems of prejudice and appropriation she so brilliantly defied. Her story stands as a powerful reminder that innovation is not always celebrated where it originates, especially when it comes from marginalized communities. It's a testament to how crucial it is to actively challenge existing biases, demand equitable recognition, and ensure that the brilliance and contributions of all individuals, regardless of their race or gender, are rightfully celebrated and forever remembered. Aella's journey is a compelling testament to the fact that truth, though sometimes suppressed, will ultimately prevail through persistence and advocacy. If Aella Vance's fight for truth and justice has touched your heart, subscribe to Black Stories right now. Join our community as we continue to uncover and celebrate the vital narratives that history tried to bury. Because the greatest act of dignity isn't just overcoming barriers, but tearing down the wall so no one else has to climb so high just for a fair chance. True justice isn't just individual, it's structural.